Everybody, it's me, Shella360, and just got through eating dinner, so if there's anything in my teeth, I'm sorry. Anyway, how are you? I'm okay. I've been having a really rough hair day, and I know you've seen me with my hair looking worse, but I don't know if you can tell, like, most of my hair is kind of straight, a little bumped at the ends. I have this one, like, random curly selection going on in the back that I have not been able to brush out, and so I'm just dealing with that look today. I look crazy. But I'm not here to talk about my hair because if we were going to talk about my hair, we'd have to talk about my many, many bandana videos as of late. I'm not even here to talk about my new Telfair bag, which I got in the mail yesterday. I did that bag security thing with Telfar where you order it like 6 months in advance. Did that, got my bag early. It's really, really pretty. It's a metallic navy. So cute. But anyway, no, I'm here to talk about this album that I got in the mail, and I still have stuff in my teeth, and to talk about Big Bang. I think you guys know I'm here to talk about Big Bang. That's why it's called "Is This the Hidden Ending?" Because I have on my aluminum foil hat. I really, really do. I didn't want to be this way. I want to be normal. I want to be a part of regular society. But I can't see an announcement like this without putting on my tinfoil hat. So that's what I'm doing. Sorry, I just feel something in my teeth. I had to get rid of it. Anywho's, you guys probably saw it yesterday, and if you didn't see it yesterday, you probably saw it today. But Big Bang is announcing that they're releasing a single in the spring. How long they've been working on this single? Must have been 2 years. Been a long time. But they're releasing a single in the spring. But along with that, T.O.P is leaving the group. Now, there is some question about the timing of everything. For instance, about, I would say maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, T.O.P posted a photograph on his Instagram of the 4 current members of Big Bang. And I say current members because Seungri did withdraw from the group when the scandal stuff first started coming out. So technically, he is no longer a current member of Big Bang. I'm using my words correctly. Open a dictionary, look them up. I'm using them correctly. Seungri is no longer a current member of Big Bang, but T.O.P, Daesung, GD, Taeyang, they're all current members of Big Bang. The current members of Big Bang are planning a spring single comeback. Single, just single, no album. But T.O.P is leaving YG. And I don't know how many of the people watching this live stream went through the demise of 2NE1, but this feels like that. This absolutely feels like that. It doesn't feel any different. I feel like T.O.P is BamBam 2.0. And when I put that on my Twitter, no one liked the tweet. Instead, I had responses like, no, that's not what this is. Or, girl, why are you always so crazy? Why are you always into conspiracies? Number one, I'm into conspiracies because society plots to hide things from us all the time. The people that are in charge constantly don't want us to know how corrupt they are. So conspiracies are real. But also because this literally fits the playbook for Park Bomb. Drug issues, big media scandal, extended silence, no real kind of statement on the matter, and then all of a sudden T.O.P's gonna leave the label, but he'll end up coming out with music on some like separate label that doesn't have any other artist on their label, just him. Or he'll end up on BamBam's label if they don't want to make a whole other like fake company for him. But yeah, I feel like that's what's happening. I don't think that T.O.P's drug scandal is similar to BamBam's in that BamBam was not smoking something illegal in Korea. That's not the case at all. But because of the drug scandal with T.O.P, he's in this place to where I don't think YG wants to promote him, and he's aware of that. And I think that over the years, especially after he got out of the military, he's brought things to the YG management that more than likely they're like, this is fine, this is great even, but who's gonna buy anything from you? And it's really stepped on his ability to be able to do anything. And I'm sure they fed him excuses. I'm sure, hey, Anthony, I'm sure they were like, well, right now we're waiting for everything to conclude with Sungri. And right now we're waiting for GD to do a little something. And right now Daesung's got a scandal. Like, there's all these things that have been happening since Big Bang put out Flower Road that there was always an excuse or a reason for Top not to come out with a project. But after Sungri's appeal and them lightening his sentence, I'm sure Top was like, okay, this is the final verdict. It's time for me to put out some things, to do some things. And they're just like, no, I think you need to wait until the group comes back. And he's probably like, you know what? I think you need to eat my ass. But that's a big leap for Top. That's a big leap for Top because so far the track record of success after leaving YG is 1.5, almost 2. Maybe 2.3. Like, not for nothing, Seven's not really doing anything since he left YG. Sorry, but it's not really happening big time. BI's been releasing stuff, but no one in my K-pop circle really talks about BI's releases like that. Ehai has been doing pretty good, but she's only put out one project since she left. Like, one project and a couple of singles here and there. Some feature work. Minzy, a disaster. It's Floppenstein all day long. Bomb, we supported her comeback single. We even supported her second comeback single, but her career hasn't really been popping off. CL's career has done okay, but compared to what her career could have been if she had that same output at least 3 years prior to the current release, there's just, it's apples and oranges. You know, if Alpha had been released 3 years ago, it would have sold way better. It would have had a better commercial reception. So many things could have been better for CL, but timing got in the way. And so the chances of Top being like a mega star or even a star of the same caliber after he leaves YG, I just don't see that being possible. And also, like, not for nothing, he got caught up in an illegal drug scandal. And not like Bomb, where you could say it's medication and that it's legal in other countries. This was something that even in most other countries, it is considered illegal. And so, yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going how could they rehab him? Especially when the YG founder is in his own legal issues. No one really trusts YG like that. And so, yeah, I think the single we're going to get is going to be the goodbye single. I think it's going to be just like 2NE1's Annyeong, where they did not tape it to be a goodbye single, but it became a goodbye single. We're going to get the message that the 4 remaining members of Big Bang agreed to have a beautiful ending and they're not going to be returning as a group. I feel it in the air because YG are liars. When they recorded Annyeong, it was not a goodbye single for 2NE1. If you are familiar with the past for 2NE1, that was, yes, it was called Goodbye, but it was not intended to be a goodbye. It was supposed to be one of the tracks from 3NE1's album. 3NE1 was supposed to come out with an album, and then YG put out this statement like, we're disbanding the group because they couldn't get it together in the studio, and we're only keeping Dara and CL. And now it's come out that the other members of 2NE1 didn't even know that Minzy was leaving the group. Like, YG's shady as shit. So until they've secured the bag, we're not going to really know if this is the last song from Big Bang. And I think people need to prepare themselves for the reality that this is more than likely the last song for Big Bang. This is it. Because it's just not sustainable. And, you know, it would have been one thing if it's like, oh, Sungri is the only scandal in all of Big Bang. But let's be honest, let's be real. Sungri's scandal is not the only scandal in Big Bang. Daesung has been plagued with the poorest, baddest luck. Starting way early on with the motorcycle accident where he was accused of killing a motorcyclist because he ran over that person's body in the road. Um, Also, Daesung, in the building that he acquired in Gangnam, that was a prostitution hub. And according to, I guess, communication between him and his realtor, he was aware tangentially because he asked what would his legal implications be if those businesses existed in his building. So that was a scandal. GD has had a weed scandal in Japan where he claimed he thought it was a funny smelling cigarette. But then also, there have been scandalous reports of animal abuse at his resort hotel thing, that like there's animals that have been chained up and they're malnourished and they're being treated poorly and they look bad. Um, so yeah, I am just like, there is very little to work with here. Very little to work with here. Taeyong, at least, him and his wife are like, we're having a baby. We had a baby. But other than that, like, a lot of people honestly feel like even Taeyong's not clean, because if the rest of the group gave hints in early interviews that they knew that Sungri was going to come to a bad end, they probably knew about the bullshit that was going down, and they continued to be associated with him, which I can see why some people say that. I can see why some people say you're guilty by association. You knew the bad things that were going down. You should have said something. Because I've said that exact same thing about Sungri. Sungri knew about the golden phone and the group chat and all of the frankly disgusting video traffic that they were peddling with one another. And his response was, don't have that shit around me. That's kind of the response that the rest of Big Bang had to what Sungri was doing. Is like, we know you're hanging out with some bad people. Just keep that shit away from us. But I think the reason why people are more able to kind of write it off for the rest of the group is because the rest of the group was contractually obligated to be in association with Sungri. Sungri didn't have to say in association with the people in the Golden Phone scandal. Those were just acquaintances, industry people. He could have easily chopped them off and been like, don't fuck with me. Y'all are bad news. This is not going to ever be a good look for me. He could have done that. However, Big Bang has contracts. And it's not like they can go into interviews and be like, yeah, legally I'm supposed to be here, but I don't fuck with that guy over there. They can't do that. They can't do that. They have to present a certain image. They have to say certain things in order to make people think, oh, we're just a big happy family. We're all friends. Everything's fine. How many of these second generation groups have we seen over the years where everybody pretends that things are fine, and then we find out later that everyone hated each other's guts? Hell, in secret, they didn't even wait for the group to disband. They got in arguments in public while they were still supposed to be group members. Homegirl went on the radio and said something about her band member, and her band member was like, keep my name out your fucking dirty mouth. So, like, yeah, these second gen people don't always get along. And so to say that the rest of Big Bang is bad because they kept association with Sungri, they had contracts. They had actual reason to continue to fuck with Sungri because they had contracts. But yeah, Daesung's got a little dirt under his nails. Top, of course, his drug scandal is compounded by the one thing we don't really talk about that much with Top's drug scandal. I don't think that smoking weed is a big deal. I'm just going to say that now. I don't partake. I really don't. In fact, I just had a conversation with my daughter today. I said, if you ever find my body somewhere and they say I died of a drug overdose, make them test my hair, because I don't touch drugs. And if there's drugs in my system, it means somebody killed me. But if they test my hair, they'll see I have a history of never having drugs in my system. So that's just a side note. But with Top, smoking weed, I don't consider it a big deal, even though I'm anti-drug for myself. But he asked a trainee, somebody who is in a lower position than him in the industry, to hang out with him and smoke weed. They probably fucked around a little bit. And that's a power imbalance. And Top took advantage of a power imbalance to suit his needs. He picked somebody who he knew kind of kept a messy crowd, was involved in messy things. And he's like, hey, I'm a big star. Go ahead and find me drugs. Go ahead and smoke out with me. Maybe suck my dick a little bit. And that's foul. That's foul. And we don't talk about that part at all. No, none of us like Han Sohee. None of us like Sohee at all. There's not a single person in this room who thinks that she's a good person. She's a terrible, terrible person. The things she says, the things she does, she's a bad person. She's a person who's managed to take advantage of her family's wealth to get her out of bad situations time and time again. She's somebody who's taken pleasure in tarnishing people's reputations over and over again. She has no moral code, and I would never fuck with her. Not in a million years. Never. However, when T.O.P was dealing with her during their smoke sessions, at that time, he did have some leverage over her. He was in a power position. She may have come from a wealthy family, but she wasn't a star, and he was. And I'm sure when a star approaches you and wants to smoke out, it's like, hey, you go get the weed, bring the weed to me, we'll smoke out, we'll fuck around, and then, I'll just call you when I'm ready to do it again. That's a power dynamic that's being taken advantage of. And so there's a lot of people who don't want to forgive T.O.P for the weed, but there's a lot of other people who feel like T.O.P may be kind of a skeezy person for taking advantage of a trainee. And yeah, she might not be our favorite person, but that doesn't excuse the fact that he was still being kind of a creep, And then, yeah, I will just say this. YG as a company, I give a lot of breaks to the female artists on YG because I understand being a woman in K-pop is hard as hell. The barriers you constantly have to break, the misogyny you have to constantly endure, it's just obscene. K-pop is a filthy, filthy business if you're a girl because they're constantly pressuring you to be something you're not. Whether they want you to lose a massive amount of weight, if they want you to get plastic surgery, if they're constantly critiquing whether or not you have any talent other than your face, it's just a brutal, brutal business for women. But in YG in particular, over the years, it has felt like YG had a totally different set of rules for their boys and their popular women versus their girl trainees. And I think that that's something that artists on YG have always been aware of, that, if you're a guy in a popular group on YG, you have a level of power in that company that no one else has besides YG himself. And you walk around that place basically putting it in people's faces, letting people be aware, I'm the man, I'm everything, bow down. And so when I think about that, I sometimes feel like the accesses that they're afforded because of that power position is the reason why when they start to do things that are less than honorable, it's hard for them to see it as that, because I think they honestly see it as, this is a part of my privilege. Am I taking advantage of women? Yes. However, I'm a powerful man with lots of money. This is something that powerful men get to do. Am I taking advantage of business relationships? Yes, but I'm a powerful man with celebrity. Therefore, this is something that comes along with celebrity. I really do think that a lot of these situations that people have gotten into have been because they were taking advantage of their powerful position. But yeah, going back to the song, I have a feeling that the single that Big Bang is going to put out in the spring more than likely is going to be their swan song. And I have mixed feelings about that. On the one hand, Big Bang was one of my first big fandoms when I got into K-pop. My first K-pop group album was Shinee. I owned a version of Amigo early on. That was my first Shinee album. My first K-pop album was Rain's Back to Basic. And then the next two group albums I bought were 2PM. I bought their Sexy Times album. And that's not the name of the album, but it was the album that had the cover that if you put the blow dryer on it, they were all half naked. Whew, good times. That was the album with Ad Toy on it. Anyway, I'm digressing. I had 2PM and I had EXO's what is it? I had their little mini album that had Overdose on it. Those were my first little set of K-pop albums that I bought. But the first collection I ever completed was a Big Bang collection. I didn't have all of their stuff, But I remember in my early days of YouTube, and you can find it on my channel. It's probably like close to 5 years old, those videos. But Big Bang, in their really early albums, like the albums that had Haru Haru on them, they had these paper dolls that were inside the album, and you can only find them on the first pressing. You can't, if they've done represses of those albums since, those paper dolls aren't in the represses. In the first press editions of those early Big Bang albums, they had these things that were paper dolls. It was basically a sheet of paper with perforated designs, and you punch everything out and you can make a paper doll of a Big Bang member. And that was the first mini collection that I ever finished on my YouTube channel. I've since sold those albums. But they were a big fandom for me. Like, honestly, for a while there, it was a competition in my mind, like Big Bang or Shinee. Big Bang or Shinee. I eventually became a Shawwal, if y'all aren't aware. But yeah, Big Bang and Shinee were a really big deal for me very early on. I used to read a ton of T.O.P and GD fan fiction. GD T.O.P was a big fandom for me. But over the years, I've kind of fallen away from Big Bang. And I've fallen away from Big Bang because, honestly, music wise, they kind of got a little bit more middle of the road for me, and I wasn't as into like Flower Road. But also, like, the more famous Big Bang got, the further away from a lot of the black entertainment motifs that they had early on in their career. Like, if you look at early pictures of Big Bang, Taeyong had cornrows. He had cornrows. So like they really leaned heavy into urban culture early on, and the more popular they got, the more pop they got, and kind of the more their sensibilities kind of went away from what I normally gravitate to, which is like heavy R&B, urban and rap sounds. But I still loved them. And I thought they were great. And then when all the shit started happening with Sungri, I was like, this is a fucking disaster. This is a fucking disaster. Now, granted, I was not on Sungri's side. Like, when everything broke out, I'm like, fuck that guy. But I definitely was like, what's going to happen to Big Bang? Because, you know, it's not just him, it's all five of them. And I agonized privately about, like, can 4 go on? Not that Sungri's presence in song is like so impressive. Before anything even happened with Sungri, I used to tell people like he's my least favorite member of Big Bang. His voice means nothing to me on their songs. But I was like, 4 is gonna be weird because we're used to seeing 5. But if there's one thing I've learned from watching my own group go from a 5 to a 4, it's that if there's a will, there's a way. If there's a will, there's a way. If the fans will go for it, anything could be done. And if Big Bang decides to make it a 3-piece instead of a 4, or if they just decide to make it 2, if it becomes the GD Taeyang collective, people, if they're fans enough of it, they're gonna go ahead and buy it. They're gonna go ahead and support it. And so my days of worrying about the future of Big Bang are really over. I may buy the single if it's a physical. I might buy it, but overall, I'm really nonplussed because I've gone through the gamut of emotions for Big Bang over the years, and at this point, I kind of want to see it all resolved. Because I feel like we've just been going through the motions and, you know, kind of trying to keep a hopeful face, but things just haven't really moved anywhere. Like, even GD, honestly, at this point in the game, even when we thought that, like, okay, it may be a while before there's a Big Bang project because, you know, T.O.P has still got all this criticism from his drug stuff. And then when Daesung had his issues with his building that he bought, we're like, okay, it's going to be a while. But people were like, at the very minimum, GD ought to come out with something. I mean, he's out the military, then growing his hair out. He should come out with something. GD said, I'm coming out with shoes. Do you want to buy them or not? Like, he just wasn't doing it. So, I don't know. I've kind of been preparing myself for Big Bang's retirement because they're just not moving like a group that wants to stay active. At least it seems like that to me. They just don't seem to be moving like a group that's really trying to stay on the scene, stay active. And also, this is spicy. This is going to be something a lot of y'all aren't going to want to hear. I think in a lot of ways, Big Bang is intimidated with the prospect of returning because, not for nothing, at the time that Big Bang did their last kind of forays into K-pop music, they were still considered one of the biggest acts in K-pop. Like, it definitely was one of those things, like, people were excited about the Made album because Big Bang were giants in K-pop. Giants in K-pop. But that status has changed over the years. I mean, through inactivity, absolutely. But at this point in the game, while they are still legendary and while they still garner a lot of respect from people who actually enjoy K-pop as a whole, there are certain expectations that people have of a group like Big Bang, and those expectations are going to be leaned up against what BTS is currently doing, what NCT is currently doing, hell, what Blackpink is currently doing. There are so many massive players in K-pop right now that I think it's intimidating for a group like Big Bang, who's been around for as long as they have and have been as inactive for as long as they have, to come back to the game and be like, hey, take us seriously, love us, enjoy us. You know, there is this kind of thing as you get older when you try to emulate younger sounds. You don't want to come off as corny. You want to come off as like cool. And it's sometimes hard to strike that balance between corny and cool once you get a little bit older and you're more removed from youth culture. And so, like, what approach do you take? I imagine for the last couple of years, the group has been agonizing over what sound do we come back out with? Do we try to sound like the Migos? Do we come back and we try to sound like BTS? Do we come back and we try to sound like Lil Nas X? Like, what sound do we come back with? Do we come back with our same old sound? And if we come back with our same old sound, will people like, wow, y'all haven't grown at all? Like, there's so much to consider in coming back with a sound. And I think that's another thing that we really need to be thinking about if you're fans of Big Bang, is that the game has changed. And the game changed so fast, so quickly. While Big Bang was in the military, the entire landscape of K-pop turned on its head. We lost an entire generation of K-pop while Big Bang was in the military. So coming back, what do you come back with? I don't know. I don't know what you come back with. So when you take all of this into consideration, yeah, I'll always give whatever they put out a listen. I'll absolutely do that. But in terms of any great expectations, or even thinking that this is the first single of a huge comeback in popularity for Big Bang, I can't really say that. I think the only thing that could probably drive up a Big Bang comeback is if they have a Blackpink feature. I think if I was YG and I wanted to bring Big Bang back into the fold, if I wanted to do big projects with them, try to get them back where they were, I would lean as heavy as possible on Blackpink. Like, I would make sure Blackpink was in the video. I would have Rosé singing the hook. I'd have Jennie do a guest verse. I'd have Lisa dancing in the background. Like, I would do it all to try to get them to like help prop up the group. In fact, Blackpink is a 4-piece. Big Bang is now a 4-piece. Pair off for the video. But yeah, like, I would probably try to give them as big a boost from Blackpink as possible, because I don't think that this generation of current K-pop buying fans are really going to be here like that for Big Bang. Like, just my personal opinion, I don't see them being like, oh yeah, this group that hasn't released an album in over 5 years, I'm certain that I'm going to buy this because I've heard of that name. Like, it's not a guarantee, but the current buying fandom are like, anything that Blackpink touches, I'll have 5 of those. And that is how you're going to get them into Big Bang. That's going to be the way you do it. If Big Bang has a return showcase, you get Treasure to cover their songs. You get Blackpink to do a cover of their songs. You get GD to write a song for Blackpink or write a single for Jennie. You know, like, that's you have to do this number. Just the way that Big Bang was used to introduce the world to 2NE1, you have got to kind of reverse trend that and have Blackpink be the ones to reintroduce Big Bang to current K-pop audiences. Because yeah, there's a much bigger hurdle to a comeback for them than there ever has been before. And if any of you bitter Betties who are second gen stans try to get in my comments or get in my mentions talking about you just don't know, they're kings of the world, they'll always be kings, the world's been waiting on them, quit being old. Like seriously, quit being old. I'm 42, baby. I'm an old bitch. And I'm not even being as old as some of these Delulu fans who think that the world has just been on the pause button waiting for Big Bang to come back. Sarah says, I remember an old video where you talked about the rivalry between XOLs and VIPs when they shared the same comeback period, and it's been a whole new generation since then. That's true. You know, EXO is third generation. We're now on mid fourth generation. Third generation has come and gone. Third generation has come and gone. All of those acts that debuted in and around 2012, 2013, that's a whole other disbanded generation compared to what we're going with right now. And a lot of these kids, in the last 2 to 3 years, they have blown the hell up. And so when you look at it that way, yeah, Big Bang's got a lot of catching up to do. A lot of catching up to do because they left before fourth generation really got started. Honestly. So, yeah, those are my feelings about Big Bang having a comeback. I wish them a fun comeback. I will say that much. Like, if they come back with some sad, sobby, fucking loser-esque love song type of song, I'm gonna be so fucking disappointed. Like, it's probably what's gonna happen. It's probably gonna be some old ballady ass bullshit, which I'm not gonna want to hear. Don't get me wrong. I actually like love song. Like, out of Big Bang's slower kind of songs, love song's probably my favorite. I hate this love song. I hate this love song. I like that song. But like, if I was gonna be very honest about what kind of sound I like from Big Bang, like what's my favorite sound from Big Bang, I'm about anthems. I'm about big anthems, and I'm about like really kind of fun stripper club music. That's what I want to hear from Big Bang. Like, Bad Boy is my jam. Baby is such a baby, baby, na 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 na. What a great sound. Tonight. What a great song. The bridge to Tonight is one of my favorite bridges. The woo 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 woo. And then like you hear this sound and Taeyong singing and then Daesung hits the high note. When's the last time you listened to Big Bang's Tonight? Like, let's do a K-pop homework assignment for all of us, because we're talking about Big Bang, but when's the last time you actually listened to an old Big Bang song? Like, if you put your headphones in and you turn Tonight up, the way it begins, it really just builds it up, builds it up, builds it up. That's such a fucking anthem. Monster. Oh my gosh, I've talked about this before. People do not give enough credit to Big Bang's Monster. That is such an elegant, beautiful, anthemic song. It's so beautiful. And people pay it dust. And I think that it's one of their, if they had a greatest hits and I could contribute 5 songs, my 5 songs that I'd put on their greatest hits, I'd put Monster. Of course, I'd put Fantastic Baby. I'd put Baby. I'd put Bang Bang Bang. And I'd put Tonight. Those would be the 5 songs I would contribute. But yeah, like, their anthems are just, they're made to be in stadiums and just people fucking losing their minds. I'm just thinking about that now. Like, Tonight is such a Black Eyed Peas ripoff too. Like, let's be honest here. That's another thing. Like, a lot of Big Bang's anthems they sound like a style of popular music that's not even popular anymore. So, yeah, who knows what they'll do? Who knows what they'll do? But anyway, let's open this and then we'll talk a little bit more. So I have this BamBam album, which I bought literally off of the strength of his duet with Seulgi. literally off the strength of his duet with Sulgi. I'm like, I really like this song. I really like this video. They look great together. I will buy this. I went and listened to the rest of the mini album, and it's really not my cup of tea. If I had to describe it, I would say that this album sounds like Love Simon music. It definitely sounds like angsty background tracks for a gay coming of age television show. And there's nothing wrong with that, but like I'm not a big like sad vibes person. As I've mentioned, like when I was talking about my favorite Big Bang songs, I tend to like stuff that's a little bit more sped up, a little bit more on the rah vibe. This is a collection of more, I don't know, homework music maybe? I don't know. But it's a very different vibe than what I'm looking for. But it comes with this booklet inside of here. And it comes with this box. So we're going to open that up and see what's in there. I do like this. When you take the little cover off. Isn't that cute? That's really, really cute. I like this pink combination too. I like the dark pink and the light pink. I think that's really pretty. I have no complaints about the packaging. That's cute. So here is the booklet, and I think probably there's a photo card or something in here. No, there's no photo card in the booklet. Okay. BamBam has remained incredibly popular since GOT7 split from YG. Or not YG, but JYP. And so this packaging actually is nicer than the packaging from Ribbon, in my opinion. These are nice pictures too. He looks good. He looks real good. He almost looks like Taemin in this picture a little bit. Like seriously, if I did this and I didn't tell you whose album this was, would you kind of think this was a picture of Taemin? A little bit, maybe. I don't know. I kind of got Taemin vibes from the video he did with Sulgi too. I'm like, oh, this would be cute. Come on. Do you see it a little bit? I'm probably just jumping to conclusions. Tell me that's not a Taemin-esque picture. I need to leave this boy alone. I know he's like, why do you keep comparing me to your Shinee faves? I'm sorry. I see Shinee in everything. This is pretty. This is a pretty vibe too. I don't know what the other photo books look like. I haven't looked at any unboxings of this. All denim ensemble. That's cute. I like that. I don't know what the hell he's sitting on. It looks like a carved rock. Yeah, I don't know what this set piece is that he's on. Interesting. A little weird, but, you know, whatever. It's like he took the rocks from Key's Bad Blood video and was like, let's just paint them. Let's tie-dye them. But I'm not mad at that. And then him in, like, his soft boy clothes. And these woolly... Look at these woolly boots he's got on. Can you see those woolly boots? That's a look. That's a look. Okay. And then he's got these like, I don't know what this is. I'm not sure what this look is, but all right. You know, I'm not sure how any of these looks relate to the songs, but I don't think that that's what album pictures are about. I think it's more about like having some cool pictures for fans to like. All right. There's a bunch of stuff in it. Look, this thing is full. There's a bunch of stuff in this box. Let's see what's in here. Oop, 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 oop. Everything's falling out. All right. Did I get everything? Yes, I did. So the first thing we have here is the actual CD itself. It's nice that when you buy an album, it actually comes with a CD, even though, fuck, what's the name of that group? Gosh darn it. I can't think of the name of the group. It's the group that had the two members that were in Produce that went really far. And Daddy Dimples is in their group. Can't remember the name of the fucking group. But anyway, they're doing a comeback. And on their comeback, you have a choice. You could buy a physical album with no photo card, or you could buy a photo card with a digital link to download the album. Victon, thank you. Yeah, Victon has decided, they know that you're buying albums to buy photo cards. So like, let's just cut out the middleman. We will send you the photo card and you can download the music if you want to. But yeah, let's just go ahead and do this rather than us pretending like you're buying 15 copies of our album because you're going to listen to every CD. And I'm like, That's just smart as hell. That's just mad smart. Like, everyone should be doing that. Ooh. Ooh. Y'all, this is a fucking gorgeous photo card. Wow. 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 This is an amazing photo card. Like, I don't normally gush over photo cards, but this right here, this is an amazing photo card. So this is the back of the photo card, right? Look at this bitch. Look at that! Have you ever in your life? Have you ever in your life? Everyone needs to do this. Everyone needs to do this. This is amazing. I really, really like this. I love this. Oh my gosh. One more time for the girls. One more time for the girls. Show them how you like to wink. Look at that. He's winking at you. That's amazing. Okay, this is nice. This is nice. This is way nicer than I thought it was going to be. I did not anticipate that. All right, next we have, what is this? Are these tattoos? No, I think they're rub-on stickers. I think these are rub stickers because, okay, you're looking at it in the camera and I think I'm showing it on mirror image, but these are like backwards. These are backwards. So yeah, I think they're like rub-on stickers, which, all right, that's cool. And then what's this here? This is, what the hell is this? It's not lyrics. It's just like, it's just pictures. It's just pictures. Yeah, it's just pictures. Because on the back, it's just big bees. Also, I didn't realize that the bee was a profile of his face. I just saw that right now. Look, it's his face profile. That's cool, right? So yeah, there's that. That's also in that box. And then we have some calendar cards. Calendar cards. Okay. I guess so. I mean, there's track listing on the back of these and then lyrics. That's what's on the back. But they're also calendar for remaining months of the year. Interesting. And then there's some more cards here that are calendar cards that have actual pictures on the back of them. So these are all like word calendar cards. Yeah, these are all like lyric calendar cards. And then these are actually photographs, which look to be very similar photographs to these here. They're the same photo shoot, but just different poses. Where have I seen this pose before? Is there a Taman record cover that looks kind of like this? I know, I kid. I mean, if you take inspiration from Taman, you're not in bad company. A lot of people do. So those are all the calendar cards that came with this album. And then this is a poster. Okay, this is a poster. Got it. So this is the back of the poster. B for BamBam. And then this is the front of the poster, which I feel like you didn't utilize your space well. I think that like this would have been a cool poster, but this right here, I feel like he's not even looking at the camera in this photograph. I think they could have picked a different pose for him, but yeah, this was a nice little package. You know, it's pretty middle of the road for the most part, but this thing right here, this, I want to see more people do this. Like, I'm not even kidding. I think this is incredibly slick. I think this is so cool, and I think that more people would love to see this in their albums. It definitely gives you something to look forward to. Like, ooh, he's winking at me. So that is my BamBam album. I did buy more versions of Shinee's SM Winter album, the SMCU Express. I bought more versions of Shinee's. Well, technically, it's called the Onu Ki Minho version, I believe. But I had bought one copy when it first came out, and I did not get Minho's photo card or poster. I think I got an Onu ID card. I think I may have gotten an Onu photo card, and I got an Onu poster. No, I got a key ID card, Onu photo card, Onu poster. So I went back to Catch Up CD because they had some more copies, and I bought two more copies from them. And between the two copies, I was able to get all of Minho's goods. So I was able to get Minho's ID card, Minho's photo card, and Minho's poster. But now I find myself in possession of a full key set and a full Onu set. So if anybody was wanting to buy Shinee's winter album and your bias is key or your bias is Onu, please let me know, because I have a full set of Onu and key, like their poster, their photo card, and their ID card. So yeah, just let me know and we'll work it out somehow. But that's everything that I have to discuss. Congratulations to Rihanna for having your baby. Well, not having your baby, but for showing everybody that you're pregnant. That's really cool. Kylie Jenner had her baby. That's amazing. Her baby was born on 2/2/22. What a fun birthday. What a fun birthday. When people are like, oh, so what's your birthday? 2/2/22. Like, that's cool. That's really cool. I wonder if she had a scheduled C-section, or did she just like naturally have her water break and like, I'm having a baby on 2/2/22. Also, I don't know if the rest of y'all are interested in pop culture at all, but I have been following this whole Kanye West saga with him and Kim Kardashian, and like, as a mom with an ex-husband, I'm gonna tell you this now. Everything that Kanye says is like going through PTSD for me. It's like, this is such freaking bullshit. Especially because like I have a daughter, Stevie. You've met Stevie. And yeah, a lot of the same kind of, oh, you're not letting my daughter be a little girl, and you're exposing her to stuff too soon, and all that kind of bullshit. Those of you, a lot of you are not going to be here to hear me talk about Kanye West, but I'm just going to say this. In Kanye West's most recent rants about Kim Kardashian, he has said that he's never going to stop fighting for his black children, and that Kim Kardashian has told people that he is trying to put a hit on her, and that she's playing with a black man's life, and all this stuff. But my memory is not short. I may not have the world's longest memory, but my memory is not short. I remember when Kanye West was sitting at the TMZ offices telling people that black people need to get over slavery. And he was like, sounds like that's a choice to remain in slavery. And it's like, bitch, if you don't get the fuck out of my face. But yeah, like when he was going around with the MAGA hat and talking about how black people need to get past racism and slavery, and now all of a sudden I'm gonna continue to fight for my black children, and you're playing games with a black man's life. It's convenient that you fall back on being black when it suits the narrative that you want to put out there. But when it came to choosing a black woman as the mother of your child, that wasn't the reality of things. When it came to being on the side of black people, when it came to politics, that wasn't really something that you cared for. You're actively working with somebody who's in the midst of a sexual assault investigation, Marilyn Manson, and you don't seem to be concerned about women's rights with that. I mean, like, Kanye West is he's fucking scum. And there's so many freaking like hotepian men who are like, Kanye West is speaking facts, and Kim Kardashian's always been a hoe, and she does hoe things, and her daughter's gonna be a hoe just like her because she got her daughter out on the internet. And it's just like, okay, well, Kanye West talking about he doesn't want his daughter to be on TikTok because he doesn't want her to be on the internet. You had your daughter all over the internet when she was showing up to your fashion shows, and when you're taking pictures of your kids and putting them all over your Instagram and having them model your latest clothing lines. You had no problem exploiting your kids for the internet to look at then. When you and your family was appearing on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, you had no problem with cameras all in your family's face then. When you were releasing the Donda album and you decided to have that big stadium show in Atlanta, you had no problem asking Kim to put on a wedding dress and walk in your show. You have no problem talking about your family on albums. You had no problem when you were running for president to tell everybody that you had asked your wife to get an abortion, and that you would not have had your daughter Northwest if your wife had followed through with what you had wanted to do. But yet and still, it is your wife, your former wife, soon to be former wife, that is exploiting your children, please get out of my fucking face and quit playing games with me. You don't give a damn about those kids. What you give a damn about is Kim Kardashian. When they first split up, before she started dating Pete Davidson, he was like, Kim, come back home. I want you back. Blah, 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 blah. Didn't even mention the fact that the whole reason why Kim Kardashian filed for divorce is because Kanye had went on many Twitter rants about how evil her family was, how she was trying to get him locked up, how she was such a terrible wife, and all this other hurtful stuff that he said about her. Meanwhile, Kim's statement to the world was, everyone knows that my husband is struggling with mental health issues, and please give our family grace while we deal with this privately. Then she files for a divorce and goes on SNL, kisses Pete Davidson. Once she shows interest in another man, these are the sneaky ass shitty things that Kanye West does. He tells everybody he bought Kim's second sex tape. When is the last time anybody talked about Kim Kardashian's sex tape with Ray J? It's been years, at least a decade. People don't talk about it anymore. But he brought it up because he wanted to remind people about Kim's sexual history. That was the reason why he brought it up. And even Kim was like, there was no sex tape on the laptop you bought. There was no second sex tape. The only thing you bought were vacation photos. And Ray J, who could have used this moment to be more public for himself, to, feed into the lie for publicity and for popularity, he's like, nah, man, the laptop you bought, it just had vacation footage. It didn't have any additional sex scenes between the two of us. So that was one thing that he did. Then he did a whole song where at the end he threatened to beat up Pete Davidson. Then he said that Pete Davidson was in his house with his kids, even though, according to everybody in their family, that's never happened. Then he accused his wife of kidnapping his daughter by holding a birthday party that he wasn't invited to. Now, the birthday party was at the home that the children live at. The birthday party was all over Instagram. If you're going to kidnap somebody, usually you try to keep that on the hush, not have people know where you are. He did get into the party. Kris Jenner told him where the party was. He came to the party. He was dressed like he was headed to a funeral for a lumberjack, but he still came to the party. He says that Kim accused him of stealing when he went into her house to play with their son, even though that's her house. With your separation, you agreed that she could stay in the family house. That's her house now. So if she feels like you're taking stuff from her house that you didn't ask to take, then yeah, she's going to accuse you of stealing. But over and over again, Kanye has fed this narrative to people about what a ne'er-do-well Kim is. How she's so horrible, how she's so terrible. Meanwhile, he's out here with every woman who will give him the opportunity, and he's basically romancing them in the exact same way he romanced Kim. He picks women with sexual past that would make other people judge them, and then he says, I won't judge you, I'll change your life. But the minute you make me mad, I'm going to throw your sexual past in your face. So like the lady that he's dating now, her name is Julia Fox. Apparently, she was a BDSM mistress while she was in high school. She broke up a prostitution ring, according to her history, I think. But she basically has been highly sexualized over the years. Well, he decided that she was going to be his new muse, and he bought her a brand new wardrobe, and he does her makeup, and basically they're joined at the hip right now. And if you guys don't remember, when Kanye first got with Kim Kardashian, he basically threw away all her clothes, gave her a brand new wardrobe, took her everywhere, did everything he could to legitimize her and get her on Vogue and take her to the Met Gala and all this other stuff. And then when the time came where he could no longer get any value or use out of Kim Kardashian, it's like, oh, she used to be a hoe. And Julia Fox, depending on how she decides to play things, depending how things go with her and Kanye, I imagine the same thing will happen. If he actually gets serious about her and she's willing to play the long game to be with him, the minute she tries to leave, he's going to be like, oh, isn't this a picture of your pussy in Paper Magazine 10 years ago? Because he's that kind of fucking asshole. Even Amber Rose, I will never forget this one Twitter interaction. It was the stupidest thing ever. So Amber Rose used to date Kanye West, and then Kanye West left Amber Rose to be with Kim Kardashian. Amber Rose, after her and Kanye broke up, she started dating and then married Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa is a notorious weed smoker. He's got like a line of weed products in California. Like that is his whole brand, is that I smoke weed. And he had a line of weed called KK, and it was like Cali Kush, but it was spelled with K. So California was spelled with a K and Kush was spelled with a K. And he was like, y'all need to get out and get that KK pack. And Kanye West thought that the KK stood for Kim Kardashian. So he proceeds to go on this wild Twitter rampage talking about Amber Rose is the dirtiest hoe I've ever known. I'd take 100 baths before I could even touch Kim Kardashian because Amber Rose was so gross and she's this, she's that, the other. Wiz Khalifa's comeback was, KK is California Kush, fool. Kanye never apologized for that. Like, it didn't even occur to him, like, wow, maybe I was wildly out of pocket and I shouldn't have said these things about this woman who was not attacking me and whose husband was not attacking me. Maybe I overreacted and I was wrong. Nope. Because Kanye is a really pitiful misogynist. He's a pitiful misogynist. He talks about how he wants his daughters to be so pure. He doesn't mention anything about the purity of his sons, which he has 2 of them. Consistently, he's held his mom up as this like saint type figure, but he chooses to associate himself with women who, again, like I said, have rather prominent sexual pasts. He gets in fights with men that he doesn't do the same actions with them. And when people talk about him the same way he's talked about people, he gets his petty baby feelings hurt. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Like, in every way that I could say it, fuck that guy. I wish him nothing but the worst UTIs, and I hope that everything falls apart for him because he's not a good person. He never has been really a great person, but he's been better. He was better. But after his mom died, I guess like everything broke. Everything broke. And he's just been a fucking menace. So yeah, I hope bad things happen to him. Enjoy that. Enjoy your karma. But anyway, that's really all I have to talk about. I don't really have anything else to talk about. I'm glad I got a chance to be around you guys. There have been a few times in the last few days where I'm like, I should get back in front of the camera and talk to y'all. But then I'm like, no, because we've been dealing with things around the house that have been kind of heavy. And I just like, my mind's not in the right place to be talking to everybody. But when the news about Big Bang came out, I'm like, I need to talk to you guys about it. Because if you've been watching my channel for a long time, this is kind of an ongoing saga for all of us second gen fans. This is an ongoing saga for us. So I felt like it deserved a conversation. But yeah, it's just K-pop gets harder and harder for me. The older I get, the harder K-pop gets. And not because I don't enjoy the music. I find things to enjoy, but I feel like in the past, K-pop had such a width and a breadth of content, and now I feel like everything is like super segmented, and like everything that's in one particular area of K-pop sounds very much the same. Like there's this kind of super bubblegum pop aspect to K-pop that has never really been my favorite. I call it the A-Pink version of K-pop that has become super popular. It is hard for me to relate to that. Then there's like the whole genre of just only girl crush. And some of it's cool, but sometimes it gets to be a little bit too much. And then there are like these pockets of like kind of quirky R&B singers that very rarely consistently put out material. But it feels like there's no in between. It's like super poppy, catchy, cute girl, or it's girl crush time, or it's the R&B solo diva. That seems like that's all there is in K-pop when it comes to girls. And I don't know, it'd be nice if there was some in between. When it comes to boys, there's like a handful of maybe like rock boys in K-pop, but the rest of K-pop is like, what is the new trendy music? Because that's the music that our boys are going to do. I feel like Monster X kind of has their own sound. I don't feel like they sound like everybody else, but theirs isn't the sound I normally gravitate to. I feel like definitely SM has its own sound, and it's not always the trendiest sound because SM likes to hoard songs and release songs like 10 years after they bought it. But yeah, like I look at in Hyphen and Treasure and some of these other boys, Drippin' and a lot of this stuff, and I'm just like, a lot of this sounds very samey. It sounds like they're all cycling through the same trend book. Back when it was tropical house, that's what they were doing, and now, it's kind of like spacious, like gay youth movie music. And I do like TXT. I feel like TXT is kind of different. I feel like they kind of bridge the gap between like poppy K-pop boy and rocky K-pop boy. But yeah, it's been hard to find a place because I feel like during the time that Big Bang was at their height, there were so many sounds in K-pop. Everyone was doing something a little bit different. Even like the girls, Brave Girls are who people are saying are the inheritors of Queen of Summer. Let them get through 2 summers first before I start giving them that title. But like Sistar was a totally different animal from Secret, which was a totally different animal from Girls' Day, which was a totally different animal from the Wonder Girls, which was a totally different animal from Girls' Generation, which was a totally different animal from For a Minute, which was a totally different animal from 2NE1. Like there was just so much variety. It felt like everybody was kind of following their own stream. And now it could be because I'm old, but it just feels like there is not as much variety as there has been. And it just makes following K-pop a lot more difficult for me. So I might get to the point where I'm mostly talking about old shit when it comes to K-pop because the new kids, I haven't been able to connect. But until I completely find myself disengaged from the K-pop universe, I'll try to be on here and I'll try to talk to you guys and we'll continue to have these conversations. So you all have a good night or a good morning, depending on where you are when you watch this, and just take care of yourselves. Coronavirus is running rampant out there. As somebody who's had COVID, I'm still dealing with some of the repercussions of having been infected. My energy level is just shit. Like sometimes when I'm getting ready in the morning to go to work, I have to like sit down and catch my breath just from bending over to put on a shoe. So yeah, just take care of yourselves. Avoid having this dread plague if you can. And just remember that you need to extend yourself a little grace here. I say this a lot. This is one of the main things I repeat, but like, yeah, it's tough out here, y'all. We're still in a pandemia. And because of that, things are difficult. There's less people at your job. There's less people at the places that you shop at. There's less people working the places where you get your transportation. There's just a lot less of everything. The grocery store is not as stocked. Stuff is taking longer to ship, longer to get where it's supposed to go. A lot of shit is like fucking up right now. And a lot of us are frustrated by that. And we're frustrated by ourselves because maybe we work in a place that's short staffed and we're having to take longer to finish projects because we don't have as much help as we would normally have. But just, take a deep breath, eat the elephant one bite at a time, and just give yourself a little grace and extend a little grace to other people because people are going through hell out here. If you don't get your morning coffee as fast as you used to, it's because there's probably 2 people working in the coffee shop and running the lines. There's 2 people working both the front counter and the drive-through. So maybe give them a little grace and be like, you know what, I'm willing to wait a little bit because I know that you're a human being and not a superhero with superhuman speed. So I can wait a little bit for my coffee. And if you're in that much of a hurry, you need to start making your coffee at home because, yeah, times are what they are. They are what they are. So take that and carry on with the rest of your day with that information. Thank you guys so much. I will talk with you later. Bye.